Hello, I will show you how to start a cMake project in Linux in a very lightweight way. This is how you can get started and going pretty easily as long as you have a Google account. So what you'll do is I recommend enabling billing with your Google Cloud Console, although this is not exactly necessary. But you go to this address here, shell.cloud.google.com, shell.cloud.google.com, and that'll open up a shell. And this shell environment that they give you, it's something like 10 or 5 gigabytes, something like that, of storage in there that you can use. And then the rest of the engine that they give you is they give you a lot of other developer tools. In fact, they basically give you every developer tool that you need. So right out of the box, they will give you cMake. So you run cMake -version. Okay, so when it comes to installing cMake, which is a tool to build C++ projects, they give you it. They give you it right out of the box. They give you cMake. However, if you're at home running like Windows subsystem for Linux, you might have to install the cMake. They give you a lot of other tools. Of course, they give you Git. They give you tools for every programming language, basically. They give you Java. None of these things I installed. This came out of the box. They give you all this stuff. Node. Wrong. They give you all these developer tools. Python. Yeah, they give you all kinds of tools. So you'll have your Cloud Shell open, and you know you have cMake. I have this GitHub repository here. You should just clone it. And I have a little write-up here about if you want to install or update your cMake in Linux. These are the commands you would run. Now to update Linux or update cMake, there's some other command you should run before this involving cleaning out your old version. But if you're just this is the general idea for getting cMake on Linux. This command here, and that comes from here. This is the official cMake website. And so this link here is that's that source link. So you can clone this repo right into your Cloud Shell, of course using Git, and I recommend adding your Git username and email to your Git configuration in Cloud. I'm not sure how necessary that is, but anyway, you clone the repository, and this is what you'll get when you clone it. And in the git ignore here, we have build is ignored because you need to add build. So I have this little object-oriented setup here, where I have a main method that constructs or creates this cat object. And it calls a couple methods that were defined first in a header and then in another namespace here, where we actually use this nice looking colons. This might look familiar from Java, so if you're wondering where Java got the idea of taking a class and then doing defining its methods in the class, this is where it came from, probably. I could be wrong, but it came from this technique in C++ or C. So yeah, this is the little pattern I created, and we're going to run this program. Although first we need to take a look at the cMake lists.txt, which is probably the most important file in cMake, where this is you defining some basic commands for cMake. The top here has cMake minimum required version here. And of course, we ran earlier, we can check our version we got, right? And so the required version you put up here should be lower than the one you have. It should be lower than or equal to the one you have. If this version here is higher than the one you have in your system, it's going to throw a big error at you. And then we use a file to define the glob, which is we're compiling all the files in this source directory here, and we're defining a final executable script with the title of executable, and we're adding executable from this main here, from this directory. Yeah, you could add any description you want, but yeah, that's how this is what cMake needs. cMake needs to see a cMake list.txt. However, the GitHub repo, it all has it made for you. And from there, the big method you run to start building your cMake is this command here, cMake ... So if we run cMake ... okay, so you see we have an error here. And the reason there is an error is because you first have to give it a build directory to work with. There you go, we created the build directory. I think we should cd into build. From here we can try again with our cMake. So we're going to run that. It says build files have been written to. And then from there we just run make. Before that, let's just open up this build folder. So in our build folder, it gave us all these cool things here. And so in this build directory we want to build, or just run make. It says it built a target executable. That's here. Remember, we defined the name that we wanted, and it gave us that kind of file, that name. So from there we just run /executable, and might be hard to see, but there you go, meow and running fast. And I clicked the wrong one, but yeah, it ran this. It's cout, meow, and running fast. So I think that was pretty quick, you know, like if you want to get going with C++, if you quickly want to get going with it, you could always just pull up your shell editor, and Google gives you all the tools you need. And so yeah, check out the GitHub repository, and you can get started doing your own C++ stuff with the powerful cMake build tool. And so like and subscribe, and happy coding.